Hey everyone, and welcome back. In the last video we covered the basics of the Final POS Builder by creating projects, adding actions and getting familiar with the interface. Today we're taking things up quite a notch. We'll explore how to use buttons to trigger specific actions, add conditions to give your projects laser focused logics, and even learn how to use dynamic data. This will give you much more control over your POS builds. So let's get ready to expand your Final Builder toolkit and automate things like a pro. Let's start by jumping right in. So I have already opened up a build here. It's a fully empty build, so we'll be building from scratch today. And let's start by selecting a layout. I like this more traditional POS layout where we have a logo with maybe a menu, some dynamic actions over here, a grid view, and then maybe a card view or something else over here. So let's start by taking care of what I like to call the housekeeping fields, which is really just a station home button. And for those who are not familiar with station home, it's what we call our natives apps home, where you will set up things like printers, setting up payment terminals that are Bluetooth or tap to pay or whatever you may have, as well as keeping track of your cash management. So it's always a good thing to keep a home button somewhere. The only place where you might not want it is, for example, in a kiosk build. Then you would hide it or select an authenticate action or something to make sure that not everyone can get back to station home. So let's start by adding that, and we can really do that in quite a couple of different ways. We could drag in a button here called Home Link. That's a preset button to just get home, as it is a quite important button. But today we're not going to cheat like that. We're going to add a button and create it from scratch ourselves. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to drag in a button, and then you see the Actions Manager pop up here. We're going to click Create from Scratch. And then we're gonna click or name it home. Okay, then we're gonna say add new step, and we'll go deeper into these as we get along. But for now, we're gonna choose the action go to page, and from the beginning there are previous page, station home, and our home, which is the page we see here. Let's click station home. Save action, and now if we go over to actions here, you'll see that the home action is linked. We're also just going to rename the button to say home. Actually, let's call it station home, so we're all clear what it is, and that's a good start there. Let's maybe add a page. Let's add a checkout page, and then we'll add another action to go there. So we're going to start by going into our page manager. We see here our different pages. We have our landing page where you can choose which one is your starting page. So whenever you go from station home to your build, you choose your starting page. We can also set up our pop-ups in here if you want any overlays for example, viewing more details on a product or something like that. And very, very soon we'll have customer-facing displays show up here as well, so you can fully create them as well. Let's name the page checkout. Add page. Now you see we have a brand new page here. We're gonna create the same design, and let's just go back to our home page, and then if I hit Control C here, you'll see that blink. As I go back and forth, this is a good little trick to know. I can click in here and can hit Control V, and now I've copied my element with all of the linked actions and everything into it. You can do this for almost any asset or element that you want to use. It's always good to kind of keep some way of getting back between the layouts so we don't forget it for later. Then let's add a not a div container. I'm gonna just delete that. Let's add a button. Drag over here. And let's create a new one called go to checkout. We're gonna add new step, go to page. And now you see here we have our checkout page. So we'll save that, and we should let's just call it checkout. Okay, So let's see how that look and feel inside of our native app. So I'm gonna hit publish here. I'm gonna hit housekeeping fields. We're now on version 0.02. And let me just show you how it looks on the iPad. So as you see the iPad here, we're able to go to our station home. Everything you see here is built into station home. There is a major update coming that makes this a little bit better in terms of responsiveness for mobile view and kiosk and whatnot. But let's just jump in here, and you'll see that our new version with housekeeping fields are there. I'm going to upgrade to that, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to log in. And what we see now is we have our two buttons. We can go to checkout. On the checkout page, we didn't have the checkout button, of course, and then we can go to station home. Okay, so that's a good start. Let's jump back and start building a little bit further. So next we're gonna try and add a little bit of dynamic data and show how that works. So dynamic data is really an ability that are built into the builder to load in any data field that we have in our database. That can be custom fields, it can be all your product fields, order fields, and so forth. So in order to put in dynamic data, we are gonna click here over on the dynamic data. So we have our static data where we can write whatever we want here, or we have our dynamic data. If I now click here, I'm able to see what is available in this particular database. So all of our normal stuff, general information like username, user role, so is it a cashier that is logged in, the date and time, all these kind of details. And we'll go through these a little bit deeper, but there's product data for where you can see if I want to show how much stock is in a specific place, and card data, order data, all of these different things. You'll be able to go and explore much more there. But for now, let's just click username. That'll show the user that are logged in. One of the things that are really nice to have with dynamic data is you can prepend and append text, as well as fallback text if for example, there were no logged in users, or you can limit characters if you have somebody with a really long name and you don't want to show the full string, you can cut it off and basically it'll write ... For now, we're going to write user space, and then we're going to go in and style that a little bit differently. So if I go in here, I just want to make that a little more bold. So as you can see up here, we now have our user, and then it'll write username. So that's a great start. Let's save that, and then we're going to publish it and say now with user info. And then we're going to say publish. You see our build is getting published, and I'm going to switch us over here and view the iPad again. Now we'll go into build versions. We'll go in here, we'll say upgrade. And now we've upgraded our build. So as we come in here, we see user Jordan Thorne is logged in. That's one of my co-workers here that are logged in. But let's try and switch user. So I'm going to now go in, and I'm going to switch to myself here. And as we see here, now it says Matthias Nielsen. We're also able to go a little bit deeper than that. So let's jump back in and show how, for example, conditions work. So you're able to, basically conditions enable you to hide and show elements based on certain parameters that you define. So let's just say here, we're gonna add another, now let's actually just use this here. We're gonna click on the element. We're gonna say conditions. Then we're gonna turn on conditions. And now it says if conditions apply, choose what will happen if this condition apply. So we're gonna say hide this text string that we've selected here if a certain condition apply. We have a lot of different conditions here. We could say if the card amount is more than that or if number in cart is like more than 10, then show this specific discount button or whatever you might want to do with it. For today, just to kind of give you how it will work, let's just select user and say if user is, or we could select multiple, but I'm going to select is, Matthias Nielsen, then we're going to hide it. Let's now hit save. So, and publish, we're going to say hide if user is Matthias. And then publish, and let's switch back over to the iPad. So we're going to go in and see our build again here. I'm going to upgrade and go in. And now you see there is no user string there anymore. I'm going to go in and switch the user to Jordan Thorne. And then I'm going to log in here. And now when I log in, you'll see that the string Jordan Thorne is still there. So let's switch back into the builder so we can go a little more deep into how dynamic data also works. So we're going to start by dragging in a text string. You'll see here that we have dynamic data again, but let's this time around try and add a product name. And what you see up here is that if I go in here into our settings pane, we're able to choose what products we want to load. So if I switch back and forth here, we're viewing the different products inside of our database. Let's try and make it a little more visual by adding a dynamic image to the product too. So I'm going to drag in here, and instead of selecting a static image, I'm going to go over to the dynamic tab, click dynamic, and then I'm going to click load dynamic product image. And again, if we switch back and forth here, you're able to see that all of the strings or data attached to this that we've set up listed as load product, whenever I change the product we want to view, we're able to kind of see all of the changes come. It is important to note that any design changes, if we round the borders like what we just did here, all of that is inherited for all products. So as I said, a nice big bold font type, for example, for the image here. If I switch the image, all of them will have that. Let's jump in and show a little bit more on how dynamic data also works. Dynamic data is able to understand where it lives. And right out here, we select the selected product that we want to view. But if we open up a product grid, what you see here is we have a bunch of repeater divs. And repeater divs are really just duplicating whatever is loaded into here. So if we look at our product grid, here we have a query. We can sort by name or order by name and descending or ascending. And then we can choose what products we want to view. So we're able to say all products. In this case, these are all the products in our database. We can choose in sale, maybe on this specific page or tab, however you structure your POS. You want to just load clothing and then maybe another page just for accessories. In this case, for now, we're going to leave it at all, apply the query, and let's try and populate this with some data. So as we drag in a text string, you see that it's being duplicated throughout here. And it's really just because it's a static text. If we now go in and we say product name, now you see it's starting to populate all of the different products we have and all of their names. Let's add in an image too, and again you can see it's duplicating whatever it sees. But if we add a product image, now it understands what query is set and what each card or each product represents. So it's able to load the data that are connected to that individual product. One last thing, and then let's go back and view how this shows in the POS, is I'm just going to add a product variation. And it's really just to be able to switch between the products. You can, of course, style all of this in a totally different way if you want. But let's just publish this. We're gonna just publish, and then we're gonna switch over to our iPad view. So let's just go and choose the latest version and log in and see how it loads. So now you see all of this are loading as we would expect. As I switch between products, I'm able to select the different variants and see how each of them loads. We could of course clean this up. As you see, this image here, for example, loading different than this, and it's really depending on the size of the image. We'll show you how to make sure that all images load the right size in another video as we go and create a more robust design build. But yeah, that is it for today. Today we learned a little bit about buttons, actions, dynamic data, and conditions. So you're well on your way to mastering this powerful builder tool. But hold on tight, because in the next video we are putting all of this knowledge into action. We'll build our very first fully functional POS build from scratch, incorporating everything we have learned so far. It's going to be a real-world example that you can adapt and use for your own projects. So don't miss out on this exciting step. Make sure you've subscribed and have your notifications turned on. And looking forward to see you in the next video, where we'll put your final builder skills to the test.